Thank you, Jody. Let's take our hymnals now and continue to lift our voices in praise. Number 527. 527, I know whom I have believed. Or as we say in the church, believe it. Let's stand together. So I'd like to introduce to you our speaker today, Sam Maisonet. I'm reading off of the webpage, so if there's anything that's changed, I'm sure you'll feel welcome to tell us, but Sam is the pastor of student ministries at Faith Church in Auburn, Massachusetts. He was hired in 2015. He graduated from Worcester State University, and he's working on his Master of Divinity. Maybe he has an update on that. Sam's passion is to see teenagers grow in their faith in Jesus and live that out in their schools. Prior to working at Faith, Sam worked with college students for 5 years with campus ambassadors, and that's where he met his wife, Kelly. Is that how you say her name? No. All right. Through ministry, and the two of them were married in 2013. He's also an experienced photographer. So hit him up if you have graduation pictures or things like that. So, Sam, great to have you here. Would you please come?
Check 1, 2. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. All right, I'll share with you what has changed. I am a father. I've been a father for a little over 2 years, and so we have a daughter who's going to be, we have a terror, sorry, daughter, terror, who's going to be 2 years old at the end of October, and we have one boy cooking in the oven, ready to come out hopefully December 11. So that's really exciting. I love being a father. I think that is incredible. And I'm glad God blessed me to be able to be a part of this great gift, being able to be a father. I think it's a great gift. That said, I want to jump into kind of who I am. And I want to talk to you guys about this great message that I believe, this truth that I believe is incredibly important for all of us, regardless of where we are at in our stage of life. I think this truth that God wants to speak to us relates to all of us. So we're going to be focusing in on the Word of God. You're going to laugh at me on the way to that as well, because sometimes I can't. Being in student ministry, sometimes I have no boundaries. Just straight up, I have no boundaries. Let me show you guys a video real quick, and then we'll get started.
If he's not going to play the piano, then tell him to get out of the recital. You know what I mean? Hold on, he said. Yeah, buddy, I can make this quick.
Then may I recommend you to skip the demands? They're flash fried.
Yeah. I don't need the recipe. Just get it out here with a side of frazzled nerves and bring the check while you're at it.
Absolutely.
I needed the reports like yesterday. Hey, can you replace this one with one that's part above end? What did I say? I've got to work late tonight, honey.
Cool. So we did this series in August called I Choose. The reason why we did it in August because, well, September, our families, we kind of go with the calendar of the school year for a parent. So kind of September is where we get to the swing of things, right? And as a student ministry pastor, one of the things that frazzles me is the fact that this generation, I believe, of teenagers and middle schoolers are one of the busiest generations of our time. Meaning that there are times that I'm fighting so much for 1 hour of the time so that they can come to our community of believers, of students, to help them grow. But the reality is that our culture has them absolutely frazzled because of so many different things that they have on their schedule. Some of our teenagers are busier than adults. Some of you guys agree with that?
Yes.
I see it all the time. That being said, we decided to do this series to encourage the church, everybody in the church, whether you're a parent, whether you're single, whether you are you are a grandparent, or wherever you are in life. I think we all fit in the category where as we breathe, we have to choose things. Life is all about decisions. Wouldn't you agree? Right? I mean, life is all about decisions. So let me ask you a question. How many of you guys, raise your hand, how many of you wish that you had more time to do the things that are important for you? Raise your hand if you wish you had more time to do things that are important for you. Virtually everybody. You wish you had more time for whatever. I mean, it could be whatever you value that's important. It could be your kids, your friends, to fish, if you really enjoy that thing. I mean, who enjoys fishing? I don't enjoy fishing. My dad, my brother, my sister, they love fishing. I hate fishing. I absolutely hate fishing. But I'll go, and I'll be bored out of my mind, but I'll go and hang out with them because you gotta put family first and stuff like that. So, some of you guys do enjoy fishing, and you would like to have time for that, but you don't. Some of you guys like to garden or read. I like to read. Although I might have slightly ADD. My wife Kelly wants me to get tested. I don't want to. But I might have ADD, so reading for me, while I love reading, it's incredibly difficult because, I start reading and then I smell something cooking and I just want to read. Anyways, you guys probably wish you had more time to do those important things that you really enjoy. But, isn't there always a but? Some of you guys are already identifying what that but is. But, man, I have to do yard work. It's the fall, right? So now all the leaves are falling, and you got to make time for that. I just bought a leaf blower, which I regret because it's one of the battery-powered ones, and they stink. I got to buy one that is gas operated or whatever. Or perhaps you're thinking, I have dishes to do that I didn't get to do for the whole week. I got mouths to feed. I got bills to pay. I just found out there is somebody in your congregation that has 6 kids or 7. That's crazy. But I am glad that you love your children. 6, 7, that's incredible. I hope you make a lot of money. I got bills to pay, so I gotta get to work. I got papers to do. And while in America we're supposed to have a 40-hour full-time schedule, sometimes that's not really true. Some of us work way over time. We're living in the generation of social media, and I don't know about you guys, but there are a lot of people, especially our teenagers, that like to post on Instagram as a picture-based social media. And on Instagram, they'll post a picture of something that's going on in their life. And most of the time than not, these pictures don't really align with their real life. Meaning that they are all set up to make your life really look good on a picture. But the reality is that behind that camera, your life is kind of falling apart. Here's the deal. I asked somebody the other day, how you doing? Oh, I'm busy. For some reason, never relax. There aren't enough hours in the day. I'm stressed out. Listen, our teenagers, you've probably heard this before. The word anxiety, it's a very popular word in Generation C. That's the teenagers' generation. This is a great quote by Craig Rochelle. He said this: if the devil can't make you bad, he will try to make you busy. You see, be busy doing things that don't really matter most, but suck the time that you have and can use to live meaningful and purposeful lives. You see, it isn't that you don't have enough hours in the day. It's that you make time for what you choose to make time for. So this is why we're going to be talking about this. How to choose important over urgency. And why are we talking about this? Because your ability to choose the best thing not only impacts your life, but the way you love others and your loved ones. So let me start with a personal story. And I would like to say, please don't judge me. I'm human. I'm not perfect. That being said, like I said, I'm a married man, and as a married man, there's a sense of responsibility that is you're supposed to have and stuff like that. My wife and I had the privilege to buy a house in 2016, I believe. We bought a 2-family home because I'm on a pastor's salary, so I need to find other salaries, So a 2-family home so that I can rent the first apartment. And so we bought the house and we checked out the house. We were blessed to be able to afford a house, which is awesome. We looked at the basement, noticed that it was built on rock, on stones that bleed out water. Right there, my wife told me, hey, listen, we got to buy a dehumidifier right away because this basement, bleeds out water pretty constantly. We got to keep it clean and stuff like that. Well, in the moment, that wasn't really a priority to me. And here's why. It didn't really have a personal effect in my life. So I kind of yeah, we'll get to it, sure. And here's the thing, dehumidifiers are expensive. They're $200 for a good dehumidifier. So, I kind of didn't do it. Anyways, this past summer, it's been 3 years or so since we've owned a house. This past summer, she's been kind of telling me again, hey, listen, you need to buy that dehumidifier. You got to get it done. You need to buy that dehumidifier. Yeah, I'll get to it. It wasn't important to me at the moment. It didn't really, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I didn't need to do this right now. I didn't want to spend $200. Anyways, so my father, he is in the middle of transitioning to a new home. He brought some stuff to the basement, couches and stuff like that, and they were there for a whole month. And he called me one day, and he's like, hey, Sam, I went to the basement, and my couches and stuff is fine, but I noticed that a black mold is now being created downstairs. So, black mold is, and I'm like, hey, listen, yeah, okay, I'll take care of it. And he stopped me because he kind of realized that I wasn't really taking it seriously. I was kind of like saying, yeah, I'll take care of it. And he knows me, he's my father, he knows when I'm going to do something or not. So, and then he kind of stops me and says, no, Sam, you don't understand. You see, this mold that you have here, if you don't take care of it right now, it can destroy your house. If you don't take care of this house, by the way, there are people that are living, that you rent this apartment to, and they have kids. If you don't take care of this mold right now, they can get sick. You can get sick. Your daughter can get sick. So all of a sudden, something that was important back then now became urgent. I can no longer ignore it. Can you guys relate with me? You're not judging me, right? You're relating with me? Fantastic. And I think this example bleeds out in different areas in our lives. For example, have you disregarded to take care of something that was important at the moment, but you failed to consider a priority, and now it's urgent? Perhaps you forgot to intentionally and regularly do your homework if you're a kid, and now all the weight of you passing to the next grade is involved in this one exam. But if you did the homework regularly, you wouldn't be in this conundrum. Your homework is something that is important, but now your exam wouldn't have been as urgent as it is right now because you didn't take care of what was important. Or perhaps you forgot to spend time to instruct your kids, or your children, or your teenagers, and now you're scared of their lives because of the decisions they are making as teenagers and adults. Or perhaps you can't go to that fun gathering or friend because you got chores to do. Or perhaps you are having enormous, urgent health problems right now because you didn't take care of a healthy diet when you were younger. And now you're spending a lot of money because you absolutely need to take care of this right now. It is not just important, it is urgent. You see, the reality is that what is urgent sucks out the time that you could use to do what is important regularly. And I want you to consider how important it is for you to choose what is important. I'm saying the word important a lot, am I? That's on purpose. Most of it. You see, all these different urgent scenarios steal away the time from what is important because it's dealing with what is urgent. So the question that we want to answer today is this: how do we choose what is the best use of our time? And I want to bring to you some truth from the scriptures because I believe Jesus said something about this. In fact, and we're going to see a story that really clarifies this how we should choose our time. And I'm excited to read to you from the book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 38 to 42. And let me give you some background about the book of Luke real quick. So Luke was a doctor in the time of Jesus, and Luke wrote one of the biographies of Jesus. It's Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, right? Luke wrote the book of the book of Luke. And the book of Luke is a book where he interviewed a lot of people, and he kind of they told him about Jesus' life and what happened. And this is a great story that is actually found only in the book of Luke. A great story where he's interacting with two very good friends, Martha and Mary. You know, have you guys ever heard of this guy named Lazarus? He was in a tomb, and then Jesus came over and he said, "Get up, Lazarus." The dude came out. Who does that? I mean, I don't do that. I don't have that power. So Martha and Mary are Lazarus' sisters. That's who they are. So some context here. Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem, and he stopped at this nearby town called Bethany. So now Jesus is kind of on his way to Jerusalem, and he stops by to hang out with Mary and Martha. This is where we're at. Are you with me here so far? So let's start reading. Verse 38, it says, "As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him." Let me stop right there real quick and just kind of share with you some pretty interesting things. So opening a home for someone you care about is a very intimate thing to do, a gesture, right? This is true even today as it was way back then. I don't just open up my home to anybody. You got to be in the in crowd. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that this is the case for you. For example, you won't just invite you. Well, all right. Some of you guys are incredible, and I know that you will invite complete strangers. I have a daughter, so I got to be more cautious about that. And so I don't just invite anybody to my home. So this is an incredibly intimate situation here. Mary and Martha opened up the home for Jesus. That's incredible. That is a very intimate look. What's going on here is very intimate. Put yourself in Martha's position. I mean, Jesus is coming over. Not just Joe Schmo. Jesus is about to set foot in my house. This is a big deal. This is no little thing. Martha and Mary appear to be the owners of this house. And let me ask you this question. And I think we may be divided on this. Now, be honest with me here, right? There are some people here that when they open up they will not open up the house unless it is squeaky clean. It's got to be spotless. And then so raise your hand if you're that kind of people. You got to have your house super clean. And then there are those on the other side of the spectrum that you're New Englanders, and you're like, you know what? My mess is your mess. Welcome. How many of you are like that? Fantastic. Thank you for your honesty. Clean your house. I'll leave that there. So, I mean, what would you do if Jesus was coming over and your house was not quite perfect? Seriously, for some of you, this actually might be a reason not to invite Jesus in, if we're honest with one another. Let's keep reading. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. So let me tell you what's wrong with this picture, because there's a lot wrong with this picture. You see, women back then, they were not allowed to be students. And we're seeing a posture of Mary where she is sitting down listening to the teacher. This was not acceptable back then. They didn't have the women's rights what we have here today. This is kind of a weird scenario what's going on here. This is not found all the time in the scriptures. But Mary is disregarding cultural trends or the way that culture is, because after all, Jesus is at my home. Let's keep reading verse 40. But Martha was distracted. This is where we get to the meat of the truth here, because we got to be paying attention to what's going on here. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. Martha was distracted. What does that mean? Probably doing dishes or cooking this amazing meal, because after all, Jesus is in the house. Who knows? We do know, however, that the writer is describing what Martha is doing as a distraction. So whatever she's doing is labeled distraction. Why is Martha preparing now? That's the question. I mean, Jesus is at the house, and Martha, why was she not ready? Let's sign note right here. You know, I think this is a good sign note because I think sometimes it is our preparations that get away from us understanding that somebody's already here. And sometimes our preparations are certain distractions, both in the church, both in our community. And I believe that if we consider how ready we are to receive Jesus who's coming back for us in the future, we don't know when that is, but he's coming. And are we distracted? Maybe Martha had no idea that Jesus was coming. That's why she's getting prepared, because Jesus just kind of showed up. Well, the Bible says that Jesus will show up a second time. Are we distracted?